I'd like to thank the organizers of the Branson Tea Party. They've done a fantastic job of setting this up. It makes me feel pretty good to actually come to a tea party and get to speak without having to be responsible for who's where and when we start and all that as a tea party organizer. So I respect what these guys have done. They've done a tremendous job, and I thank them for their effort. And thank you all for being here. So have we had enough yet of politics as usual? 10 days. 10 days from today, we have an opportunity to make a statement, the likes of which have not been heard for many, many years. A statement like that made by Patrick Henry when he said, "Give me liberty or give me death." A statement like that made by Nathan Hale when he said, "I regret that I have but one life to give for my country." A statement like that made by Ronald Reagan when he said, "We have to fight for freedom here because there's no place else to go." The statement we all have the opportunity to make on November 2nd has the potential to be a statement that will resound across the decades, that will be so loud and so clear and so pointed that not even Nancy Pelosi can question its intent or validity. This statement will have its origins from places like Bunker Hill, Fort Sumter, Normandy, Iwo Jima, and countless other places where patriots have fought and died to preserve the liberties that have been bestowed upon us by the Creator himself. This statement we will make has proven itself in every individual in this country that has taken it upon himself to lift himself through hard work and raw determination out of the mud and muck of poverty to take advantage of the opportunity afforded us by a Constitution built around the idea of limited government. This statement will also come from common frustration we feel for current politicians and self-serving, corrupt methods they use to grow government into the raging beast it has become. This statement will include the sentiment we all feel every day that enough is enough. Enough of the federal government overstepping its constitutional limitations and involving itself in levels of our lives where they have no business being. Enough of the EPA telling us what we can and can't do with our own private land. Enough of taxpayer money being used to encourage offshore drilling in Brazil when we can't even do that in America because of an executive order. Enough of corrupt politicians purchasing groups of voters by promising to take more money from those that work for it and giving it to those that don't. Enough of an executive office that ignores the will of the people and only cares and is only concerned with whether other governments like us. Enough of the Speaker of the House that laughs in the face of reporters who ask her a simple question, which is, what is the constitutional basis for Obamacare? Simple question, and she laughs at it. Enough of that. Enough of this preposterous idea that the government should not have to balance its budget. Is that wrong or what? And enough of the federal government stealing the power given to the states by the Constitution and expecting us to live in a government of one size fits all that's wrecking our economy, that's wrecking our culture, and that's wrecking our future. Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to our federal government, it is time to move beyond Republican and Democrat. It is time to move beyond the swinging of the power pendulum from donkey to elephant and back again. It's time to call for the federal government to return the power they have stolen from each state and allow us to govern ourselves as is our right under the Constitution. Now, let me give you an example. Who do you think would be better at governing Missouri? The federal government or you and me as Missourians? Take cap and trade, for example. True Freudian slip. The cap and trade bill would close to double our electric bills in the state of Missouri and cripple industry and other businesses which are vital to our economy. This bill was written by Joe Lieberman and John Warner, one a Democrat, one a Republican. Both of these senators are from the East Coast. What makes them experts on what is best for Missouri? Does getting elected in Connecticut and Virginia give them the expertise to run our energy policy? We as states gave the federal government 17 areas of power in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution. I've read this article over and over and over. And not once have I read where the federal government has been given the right to come into the great state of Missouri and dictate how we run our own energy policy. It is time to tell the federal government enough is enough. Missourians are the only people who know best how to secure our future for ourselves and our children and our grandchildren. Now, the statement we're about to make to Washington does not end 10 days from now. No matter how many of the bombs we throw out, no matter how much of a thrashing we deliver to the enemies of the Constitution, we must continue to stir the proverbial pot. We must intensify the Tea Party movement. We must show those that want to spin us into bankruptcy that we are not just a flash in the pan. We are not AstroTurf, and we are not going away. Thomas Jefferson has been credited with saying that eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. This was not an idle statement, and our lack of vigilance is what has our nation in the position it's in today. We must do more than just vote. We must constantly be paying attention to those who would attempt to rob us of our freedoms. We must be doing everything in our power to counter their attempts to render our Constitution powerless. Ronald Reagan once said, "Freedom is never more than one generation from extinction." Will you be guilty of aiding freedom's extinction by inaction and apathy? Will you get bogged down in the day-to-day activities of consumerism and instant gratification and ignore the need for the constant refreshment of the tree of liberty? I pray this is not the case. I commend you for your attendance at this and many other rallies that call attention to the need for vigilance. We need to never give up on fighting for liberty. We must never give up on letting Washington know that we will not go quietly into the night. We will not go down without a fight. We will stand up. We will fight on, and we will stand true to the intent of our founders. We will never yield to the enemies of freedom. We will constantly teach our children and grandchildren about the liberty where it comes from, and we will protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help us God.